Picture this. A prince creates a charity in his beloved mother's memory, dedicating years of his life to helping Africa's most vulnerable children. Then, in a twist worthy of a Netflix drama, he's hit with bullying allegations from his own charity's chair, investigated for 4 months, cleared of all charges and still forced to walk away from his own creation. This isn't fiction, folks, this is the real-life story. Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm your host, Adrian, and today we're diving into a boardroom battle that would make even the most seasoned corporate warriors wince. It's a tale that begins with love and honour, but takes a dramatic turn that nobody saw coming. So grab your tea, settle in, and let's unpack what really happened when the Duke of Sussex found himself fighting not on a battlefield, but in a charity boardroom where the stakes were higher than anyone imagined. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? The year was 2016, and Prince Harry was looking for a way to honour his beloved mother, Princess Diana. Her legacy of compassion and her dedication to helping the most vulnerable was something Harry wanted to continue. And so, Sentebale was born. The name itself is beautiful. Sentebale means forget-me-not in Sesotho, the language of Lesotho. It was Harry's promise that he would not forget the children suffering from HIV and AIDS in southern Africa, particularly in Lesotho and Botswana. These were countries close to his heart, places where he'd spent time healing after his mother's death, and where he'd witnessed firsthand the devastating impact of the AIDS epidemic on families and communities. For years, Sentebale operated smoothly. Harry was hands-on, making regular trips to Africa, getting down on the ground with the children and ensuring the charity's mission stayed true to its roots. The organisation provided psychosocial support, education and healthcare to vulnerable children and young people affected by HIV and AIDS. It was exactly the kind of work Diana would have been proud of. But then, everything changed. Enter Dr. Sophie Chandauka, the new charity chair. Now, leadership changes in charities happen all the time, and often they're positive. Fresh perspectives, new ideas, different approaches to fundraising and outreach. But sometimes personalities clash, visions diverge, and what should be a smooth transition becomes something far more complicated. That's exactly what happened here. Dr. Chandauka, shortly after taking her position, made some very serious allegations against Prince Harry. She accused him of bullying behaviour within the charity's operations. These weren't minor disagreements about strategy or fundraising approaches. These were formal bullying allegations against a member of the British royal family. Think about the weight of that for a moment. Here's Harry, a man who's been very open about his own mental health struggles, who's spoken passionately about the importance of psychological well-being, suddenly facing accusations that he himself was creating a hostile work environment. The UK Charity Commission, which oversees charitable organisations in Britain, couldn't ignore such serious allegations. They launched a full investigation, 4 months of scrutiny, interviews, document reviews and careful examination of the charity's internal operations. Now let's pause here and consider what this must have been like for Harry personally. He's already stepped back from royal duties, moved to California with Meghan, and has been trying to build a new life while maintaining his charitable commitments. Sentebale wasn't just another charity on his patronage list. It was something he'd founded himself, something deeply personal, connected to his mother's memory. And suddenly, he's facing allegations that could not only damage his reputation, but potentially harm the very cause he cares so deeply about. Because here's the thing about charity work, it's all about trust. Donors need to trust that their money is being used effectively. Beneficiaries need to trust that the organisation has their best interests at heart. Staff need to trust that they're working in a safe and supportive environment. When the chair of a charity makes bullying allegations against its founder, the trust is immediately called into question. Even if the allegations are ultimately proven false, the damage to reputation and donor confidence can be significant and long-lasting. Harry found himself in an impossible position: stay and fight, potentially prolonging the controversy and distracting from the charity's mission, or step aside for the good of the organisation, even though he believed the allegations were unfounded. After 4 long months of investigation, the UK Charity Commission reached their conclusion. They rebuffed the allegations. In other words, they found no evidence to support Dr. Chandauka's claims of bullying behaviour against Prince Harry. His name was officially cleared. You might think that would be the end of the story. Allegations made, investigation conducted, Harry vindicated, everyone moves on. But unfortunately, that's not how these situations usually play out. Even though Harry was cleared of any wrongdoing, the damage was done. The controversy had created an environment that was no longer conducive to the charity's mission. And so, despite being vindicated, Harry made the difficult decision to resign from his own charity. His spokesperson's statement was particularly poignant. They emphasized that Sentebale was set up to serve the most vulnerable children in Lesotho and Botswana, but warned that the consequences of the current chair's actions will not be borne by her, but by the children who rely on Sentebale's support. Think about that for a moment. Here's a charity founded to help some of the world's most vulnerable children, and it's being torn apart by internal politics and personality conflicts. The people who suffer aren't the adults involved in the dispute. It's the children who depend on the charity's programs and support. But here's where our story takes an interesting turn. Just 1 week after this devastating blow to Harry's charitable work, another organisation stepped forward with what many interpreted as a show of support. WellChild, a charity that supports seriously ill children and their families, issued a powerful statement. Now, Harry has been WellChild's patron for 16 years. This isn't a recent partnership or a casual association. This is a charity he's worked with since his early 20s, long before he met Meghan, long before he stepped back from royal duties. Their message was simple but profound. Disabled children and their families just want the ordinary things that everyone else should expect. On the surface, it might seem like a standard charity message, the kind of thing organisations post regularly to raise awareness about their cause. But the timing was significant. The caption that accompanied the message made it clear this wasn't just about their usual advocacy work. It's not too much to ask for, and real change to the SEND system isn't too hard to deliver, they continued. Our message to the government: you need to listen to what children and families have to say. They'll tell you the parts of the system that are working and the parts that need to change. Real change is possible, and it could transform the lives of millions of children and their families. Let's make this happen. The hashtag they used was particularly telling. #FightForOrdinary. In the context of what Harry had just been through with Sentebale, this felt like more than just a campaign slogan. It felt like a rallying cry, a reminder of what really matters in charitable work. You see, while Harry was dealing with boardroom politics and bullying allegations, while his reputation was being questioned and investigated, there were children in Lesotho and Botswana who just wanted ordinary things: a chance to go to school without stigma, access to healthcare, support for their families, hope for their futures. Similarly, the disabled children and families that WellChild supports aren't asking for miracles or special treatment. They just want what we might call ordinary access to services, understanding from their communities, support from their government, and the chance to live full lives. The message from WellChild seemed to be saying, let's not lose sight of what this is really about. Let's not let adult disputes and organisational politics overshadow the needs of the children we're supposed to be serving. So what can we learn from this unfortunate chapter in Prince Harry's charitable journey? First, that even the most well-intentioned organisations can be derailed by internal conflicts. Second, that reputation damage can occur even when allegations are proven false. And third, that the real victims of charity disputes are often the beneficiaries who depend on those organisations for support. But perhaps most importantly, this story reminds us why Harry's charitable work matters so much to him personally. This isn't about photo opportunities or public relations. When Harry founded Sentebale in honour of his mother, when he spent 16 years as patron of WellChild, he's carrying forward a legacy of service that runs deeper than royal protocol or public expectations. Princess Diana famously said that she wanted to be the queen of people's hearts. She showed her sons that true nobility comes not from titles or palaces, but from using your platform to help those who need it most. Harry's charitable work, even when it becomes controversial or difficult, is his way of honouring that lesson. The Sentebale situation was undoubtedly painful for Harry. To have his integrity questioned in relation to work that's so personally meaningful, to have to step away from an organisation he founded in his mother's memory, must have been heartbreaking. But his commitment to charitable work continues, as evidenced by his ongoing relationship with WellChild and other organisations. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. In a world where celebrity charitable work is often viewed cynically, where we question motives and look for hidden agendas, Prince Harry's experience with Sentebale reminds us that sometimes people really are trying to do good work for the right reasons. Yes, he's a public figure. Yes, his involvement brings media attention and scrutiny. But underneath all of that is a man trying to honour his mother's memory by helping vulnerable children. And when that work becomes complicated by adult politics and organisational disputes, it's worth remembering who really matters in all of this: the children who just want ordinary things, ordinary chances, ordinary hope. That's our story for today on Meghan and Harry Tales. The charity battle that forced Harry to step away from Sentebale was unfortunate, but it wasn't the end of his commitment to service. Sometimes fighting for the basic rights and needs of vulnerable children is the most extraordinary thing you can do. I'm Adrian. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and join us next time for another chapter in the ongoing saga of Harry and Meghan's post-royal life. Until then, keep fighting for ordinary.